Guyana Tapestry family, greetings and happy 2025. Yes, I know we're already a few weeks in, things are moving along. New Year's resolutions are in full swing and we're all motivated of our brand spanking new 2025 goals. Now, even as we do set goals for the new year, we reflected on some of the vibrant and diverse activities that help to shape 2024 and help us to define generally the why for what we're doing. From the grassroots community engagements to the international investment conferences. Why? Now, in 2021, when we initially began exploring Guyanese communities outside Guyana, it was about finding and telling stories of Guyanese immigrants living in other parts of the world and positively impacting our communities. It was about identifying and showcasing aspects of Guyanese culture across enclaves of the diaspora and how Guyanese families and communities preserve our heritage and pass it on to the next generation. And the events covered since 2021, and more so in 2024, are testaments really to the breadth and the strength of the global connections and the national and cultural pride within Guyanese communities across the global diaspora. We learned a few key things about the diaspora. So what did we learn? 4 quick sets of facts relating to one, population size and dispersion. And we can say with some degree of certainty that there are more Guyanese living outside of Guyana than there are Guyanese in Guyana. And there is a caveat here. The caveat is that it is notoriously difficult to find reliable, to determine with exact certainty the numbers in some cases because of the lack of specified information, access to immigration records and the like. However, there are some estimates that provide insight into what the numbers are. And so recent reporting from the IMF and World Bank estimates Guyana's current population to be at about 800,000 people. Now, conservative estimates that aggregate US Census data, Canadian Census data, and UK Census data approximate some 1.5 to 2 million Guyanese living outside of Guyana, with the largest concentrations in the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada, for example, and in the Caribbean, particularly in countries like Trinidad and Tobago, in Barbados, in Suriname, with smaller communities in Brazil and countries like the Netherlands and India, for example. For transparency's sake, these estimates take into account both documented and undocumented Guyanese immigrants. And secondly, community concentrations and cultural assimilation. The largest group of Guyanese outside of Guyana lives in the United States. In fact, in 2021, Liberty Avenue, a community in Richmond Hill, Queens, New York, Liberty Avenue was officially co-named Little Guyana Avenue in recognition of the sheer number of Guyanese living in that area and the contributions of Guyanese to the community over the years. And thirdly, economic potential and contributions. And the Guyanese diaspora is a significant economic force, sending hundreds of millions of US dollars home to Guyana annually in remittances, in some cases accounting for significant portions of the country's national income, its gross national product, right? And members of the Guyanese diaspora have earned a reputation for entrepreneurship, establishing businesses in various sectors of the economy, including hospitality and the restaurant industry, in real estate, in transportation and retail, and in other businesses that serve both local and international markets. And fourthly, community and political engagements in the host country. The members of the Guyanese diaspora are active in our communities at various levels. In politics, Guyanese immigrants and our descendants serve in influential positions right here in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and in Canada, at various levels of government. And the diaspora, for all intents and purposes, establish support systems through hometown associations, charitable organizations, and other programs that strengthen the economic connection, the economic foundations and the social connections of its members here in other parts of the diaspora. Members of the Guyana diaspora also participate in Guyana's development through investment and other initiatives. And so despite high rates of external migration over the years, the diaspora remains deeply connected to its roots in the home country. And the strength, the influence of the diaspora is really a testament to the adaptability, to the resilience, and the commitment of Guyanese abroad to help preserve the rich heritage while making a contribution in a meaningful way to the communities we live in and by extension, the global community. It's really a shining example of how people from a small country can have an outsized, a large and lasting impact on the wider world. And so, given all that we learned about the diaspora in 2024, Guyana Tapestry has some cool plans to move the platform forward for you in 2025. Guyana's unprecedented developmental trajectory is continuing to bring her a lot of attention. Guyana's strategic position regionally and globally is evolving right before our very eyes. These changes in the country's national and international profile have implications for Guyanese and Guyana, Guyanese at home and abroad. But to my mind, far too little information and conversation about all of this is in the public domain to help average Guyanese at home and abroad understand some of the rapidly evolving environment and what it means for us. There is a space, indeed, if not a vacuum, for well-researched, well-documented, and reported facts that give context and perspective to some of the dizzying changes we see in our environment. For example, this month, January, Guyana completes the first of its two-year term, 2024 to 2025, as an elected member of the United Nations Security Council. What does that mean? At a time when the government of Guyana, for instance, is raising the alarm bells that the president of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro, his actions constitute a violation of Venezuela's commitments to the 2023 Argyle Accord. What does this mean for Guyana? Let us talk about it. Another quick example, in July 2024, Guyana and the United States held their first strategic dialogue to discuss areas of shared interests. The discussions focused on several areas of cooperation, including energy security, food security, climate change, and defense and security cooperation. Guyana Tapestry ran into Foreign Secretary within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Robert Prasad, who participated in these discussions and learned a little bit more about what it means for Guyana and Guyanese, especially and for those of us living in the United States. And we look forward to sharing some of those insights with you with some additional facts. Further, Guyana is recording historic rates of foreign direct investment, outperforming traditionally larger economies in the region. And this is another factor that is helping to transform and shape the economic landscape of the country. How are these huge capital inflows affecting the lives of average Guyanese in Guyana? There was a time when there was a cry, a plea for greater access to capital. Are young entrepreneurs able to leverage these opportunities to establish thriving businesses? There are also a record number of foreign workers in Guyana. Aside from the continuing influx of Venezuelans, there are foreign workers from all across the region in Guyana. How are Guyanese affected by all this? How is the job market, the labor market, the living wage? There's a presidential election occurring in Guyana this year. Oh, and by the way, did you know that members of the diaspora are eligible for the one-off cash grant? The one-time $100,000 cash grant? And the stories like this go on and on. So Guyana Tapestry wants to bring you informed perspective about all these happenings, all these developments, and what they mean for the diaspora community. Diaspora success stories. We will continue to identify and showcase stories of prominent Guyanese excelling in fields like politics, public service and government, sports and entertainment, business and industry, and the arts, not-for-profit, NGOs, charitable work, and community development and engagement. Guyanese live across the world, whether it be New York City or Toronto in North America, Amsterdam, Brussels, London, or Paris in Europe, Bridgetown, Kingston, Port of Spain, or St. John in the Caribbean, Paramaribo or Guyana in South America. Guyanese live in these places and we interact meaningfully with our communities. In 2025, we're working on our ability to target stories and extend coverage that share more about the lives and lived experiences of Guyanese in and outside of Guyana. So thank you to everyone who follows us, whether it be on Facebook, on Instagram, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, or on X, formerly Twitter. Thank you for showing your appreciation for the content. And we look forward to your continued engagement, your continued support in 2025. This is Guyana Tapestry. I am Pelham Van Kooten, and we are telling Guyana's immigration story. And it is one love, Guyana.